Okay, so let's talk a little bit about analyzing the metrics of an expired domain. I'm not going to be sort of covering any other kind of domain like an auction domain or a domain that you buy from any other provider, because that's sort of the factors are different. I wouldn't say they're entirely different. There are a lot of common factors, but the method you go about and the mindset is going to be a little different. So we're just going to be talking about analyzing metrics of expired domains over here. Okay, so the very first thing, and of course in the future videos in this course, before I start, I want to tell you that I will be covering this through doing like an over-the-shoulder walkthrough of the entire process, but I'm just going to sort of go over things briefly right now. Okay, so the first thing I look at the backlinks, to the expired domain. I'm looking for non-spam backlinks. I'm not looking for backlinks that are like spammy blog comments, too many of them, or something that's very unnatural, things like GSS spam or some sort of a footer, site-wide footer links that are spammy, or too many, just having one kind of backlink, like just having directory spam links or things like that. So you need to just, if you've been doing SEO for a while, you sort of know what good links look like. You can fire up any of the tools. You can fire up Ahrefs or Majestic to analyze this. I typically use Majestic as a good starting point because that lets me sort of look at the trust flow, the citation flow figures, and then of course Ahrefs will let you look at the domain rank, and then if you want to look at the DA of each of the backlinks. Mind you, we're analyzing the backlinks, not the site itself, but the backlinks, the links that are pointing to the expired domain, the historical backlinks that it has. What kind of a site was this? Like, what kind was it? Like a PBN site in the past? Was it a site that was just a spam site, a low quality site that nobody really wants anymore, and that's why it's expired? That's what you're really looking for. Or is this a site that has, hey, it's got a link from CNN, it's got a link from some of these top sites, and it doesn't have any spam links, or if it's got just a couple of spam links, but its link profile is healthy. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a healthy link profile, an overall link profile that's healthy. And if it's a niche specific expired domain that you're looking for, then you're looking for backlinks from that niche only, and not just like general overall backlinks coming from random places, and then toxic looking backlinks, just GSA spam and things like that. So that's one thing. And then you need to look at the anchor profile. Are these like are each of the overall and this is something that Ahrefs does really well. It'll give you and show you an anchor cloud, and which will basically tell you the sort of the anchor text that's used in these backlinks. Like, are there like too many money keywords used there, which means that the site was promoted heavily for unnatural SEO in the past, and it may have been de-indexed as a result? Or is the anchor link profile natural looking? Like, does it have not too many money keywords? Is it a natural looking anchor profile? And we'll go over this later on, but I just want to like cover this for now, just the overall factors. Okay, so and then there are third-party metrics which I spoke about, like the trust flow and the citation flow and the domain rank and the domain age. And each of these different tools like Ahrefs, Majestic, or Moz have their own method of measuring this value. You need to understand this is not how Google functions, but this is pretty much the closest we can get to when we want to analyze when we want to do our SEO. Ahrefs and Majestic are not the final authority when it comes to telling us why a page ranks or why a site ranks for a particular keyword, but they're just sort of indicators. So over here we're going to use third-party metrics to help us understand what these historical backlinks, how toxic they are or how clean they are. Okay, so the other thing you need to check is you need to look at the content on the site, and there's no other way. If the site if it's an expired domain, it's not live. So how do you look at the content? So you use a tool like WayBackMachine. which is, I think, WayBackMachine.org, and you can also find it at web.archive.org. Or you can use screenshots, and use screenshots also, because screenshots won't be as in depth as Wayback, but sometimes it picks up stuff that Wayback doesn't have. And basically Wayback will show you what the site looked like in specific in the history, in the past. It doesn't always have the information. It may not crawl the site at a particular period, so you may be working with no data, but you need to use Wayback to sort of get the latest sort of snapshots of the content, or how it's evolved over time. And that will also help you understand and analyze if the site was used as a PBN site, or if it became some sort of a Chinese spam site. Because if you go back and look at the dates, you'll see, like, you may see just some spam content on the site. You may initially notice that it had like really good content and content that was genuine, and it was a real site, but then somebody purchased it as an expired domain or over an auction, and then put up a spam site and spam the crap out of the site, and the site sort of got de-indexed by Google as a result. So it's already like juiced out, and the person like used it as a throwaway site and hurt the site. So, and then you can't really use the site anymore. Okay, so I would recommend you not buying it, because it won't have any link juice relevance or any relevance for SEO. And then there's link velocity. Now, how you need to look, you can look at Ahrefs for that and see how fast these backlinks were built to that particular site, and just make sure it's got a natural link velocity, and it wasn't just somebody just pushing a lot of GSA spam on that site and just like building links to it suddenly, and then and then phasing it out and things like that. So that's important as well. Indexed, you can't really check whether a domain is indexed or not once it's expired for a longer period of time, because it will get Google won't index it because it doesn't exist anymore, so they'll remove it from its index. So there's no real way to check it unless it's a recent site. So the ability for a site to get re-indexed would depend on what kind of content, whether it did receive a penalty in the past, which again you have no way of telling other than looking at the content and the backlinks and sort of doing some sort of SEO analysis if this site was spammed and could have received a penalty or not. So that's the only way basically you can sort of estimate whether this site will get indexed or not. And if it's a spammy site, it's not going to get re-indexed by Google. It's probably did get a penalty and things like that. So, and if this you can actually look at the site traffic. If it was a real site, you can look at fire up SEMrush and it recently dropped, or you can go into SEMrush and you can actually see whether the particular site was ranking for some keywords and whether it was getting real traffic to the site or not. And that's a good metric right there. And you can use that a lot with auction domains. I know we're not talking about auction domains, but you can use this trick for auction domains to just study the quality of the site. Age of the site doesn't really matter anymore. Although if a site has been around for a longer period of time, it will matter because it would have picked up a lot of link juice and backlinks, which would help, as opposed to a site that's just been around for like a year. So age does matter in some way when you're doing analysis, and it will help you in the long run, but it's not that black and white a factor, if you know what I mean. So these are the metrics that you need to analyze when you're looking at an expired domain before you decide to purchase it or not. And I'll see you in the next video.